Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to give you the details on my experience with acid reflux, how I developed it, how I went on medication and then eventually weaned off of medication and found some other things that really helped me manage my symptoms and then further prevent symptoms. But as a disclaimer, if you're experiencing acid reflux or if you have GERD, definitely seek help from a gastroenterologist and do not go off of your medication unless advised by your doctor. It's really important that you speak with your doctor about your individual plan because everybody is different. By the way, if you're new to my channel, my name is Molly. I'm a nutritional science student at Boston University, and I started this page to share real science-backed nutrition and health information that can positively benefit your health and your life. I share lots of healthy recipe ideas, vlogs, what I eat in a day, as well as yoga sculpt and yoga videos because I'm a certified yoga instructor. And more recently, I've been releasing debunking diet videos where I share the real science-backed information on popular diet trends. But without further ado, let's dive into my acid reflux story. So I started getting acid reflux intermittently when my IBS symptoms started to develop during my sophomore year of college at BU. I think it was partly stress, it was partly not fueling well enough, I really wasn't eating enough, but it wasn't very often. It was maybe like once or twice a week. Then eventually they started to get worse. So I would have acid reflux every day, I would have heartburn, throat pain, stomach pain. So it was gastroesophageal reflux disease, it was reoccurring. Eventually I saw a GI and he put me on a PPI called omeprazole, which is a proton pump inhibitor that can decrease the amount of acid in your stomach. I do want to note that it's really important to know whether or not you have too much stomach acid or too little stomach acid. So acid reflux can be caused by both. If you don't have enough stomach acid, that will cause indigestion and acid reflux. But also if you have too much stomach acid, you can also get acid reflux from that. So talk to your doctor about figuring that out. But for me, I had too much stomach acid. So the PPIs helped for a little bit, but then they started to not help. I was on them for over a year and I was still getting symptoms. Like I would still wake up in the night gagging, almost throwing up. It was really terrible and it was super painful. So the sore throat happened almost every day. So I was exhausted of this. I was frustrated. I couldn't go out with my friends and drink alcohol because alcohol was a big trigger for me. Speaking of triggers for acid reflux, they can be different for everybody, but a few common ones are alcohol, fatty foods, big meals, especially big meals late at night, chocolate, and spicy foods. These foods can loosen the lower esophageal sphincter and cause acid reflux symptoms. Caffeine is another big trigger, and I want to start here because this was the major thing that helped me, was cutting out caffeine. And I wasn't even a coffee drinker. I would just drink like 2 glasses of green tea in the morning, and normally it was on an empty stomach. As soon as I cut that out, huge improvements. My stomach pain started to improve, all those things. I just think that maybe having the caffeine on an empty stomach was not a good idea for me, and I'm also very sensitive to caffeine, so that I saw huge improvements in my acid reflux by just cutting out caffeine. And sometimes when I do have coffee, I notice that I start to have some heartburn symptoms, so that is a huge trigger for me. But I was still on the PPIs even a year ago, and I was still having symptoms, so I was kind of frustrated. And also the PPIs, there has been some research that staying on them for long periods of time is not beneficial for your health. So I wanted to find a natural alternative that would be sustainable for me. So I started to do some research on PubMed and Google Scholar on natural herbs that have been used and clinically proven to be effective in preventing acid reflux symptoms. And I stumbled across 3 main herbs, and this is not sponsored at all whatsoever, but this is the research that I found and what has helped me. So there's 3 herbs that are commonly used, and that's slippery elm, marshmallow root, and licorice. So after doing some research, I talked to my doctor, and he wasn't super convinced that these would work, and neither was I, because I'm super skeptical of the supplement industry because it's completely unregulated. By the way, if you didn't know that, supplements are not regulated, so be sure that you're getting a supplement that is True ID certified or has been lab tested and verified to have what it says is in there. However, he said I could give it a try, and he said if my symptoms improved, I could start to wean off of my medication. I decided to go with slippery elm and licorice root, and I took those. I got them off Amazon. I'll go into details on brands in a little bit, but I started to take those in the morning before any food because what it does is it lines your GI tract and it increases the mucus on your GI tract, so you don't necessarily feel acid, and it can also inhibit nutrient absorption, so that's why it's important to have it before you have any food. So I took 2 pills of each, slippery elm and licorice root. about 2 hours before I ate. So I'd take them right when I woke up with a full glass of water. And almost immediately I noticed a difference in my symptoms. So I didn't have that burning sensation, my throat pain got better, and those were the first two things that I definitely noticed. So I continued on that for a while until I had no symptoms, which was incredible for me because I hadn't gone a day without symptoms in a very long time. Then I started to wean off of my medication. My omeprazole, I went down to just 1 a day, and I did have a little bit of that acid rebound effect, which is when you start having symptoms again, which is really common when you start to withdraw out of acid reflux medication. But I kept going with my herbs, and eventually I stopped having symptoms. So I stopped taking the omeprazole and made sure it was okay with my doctor, of course, and I just took the herbs for about 3 to 4 months. There's a couple other things I did in addition to taking those supplements. I tried to have small, more frequent meals, and this helps so that you don't have a huge amount of food at one time that your body has to digest, and you might produce a lot of acid to digest. It also helps to have an early dinner. This was huge for me. So having an early dinner and not laying down 2 to 3 hours after I eat was super, super important. Now, after I have been symptom-free for a long time, I can eat a little bit later at night and then lay down, but it's very important if you're having recurring symptoms, try to not lay down for 2 to 3 hours after eating. And I want to show you the brand of slippery elm that I got. This supplement company called Now. I got these on Amazon for like literally $7, and they are a godsend. I still take these. I don't take the licorice anymore because I think that these are more helpful, but I love these. I've recommended them to some of my friends who also struggle with acid reflux, and they swear by them. They also help with constipation. As a side note, it's not like a laxative effect whatsoever, but it just like helps move things along. So I highly, highly recommend just giving it a try if you're struggling with acid reflux. You can take them before a meal. I would recommend taking them about 2 hours before you eat so it doesn't inhibit nutrient absorption, or you can take them right at the beginning of the day like I did. And I don't even have to take these every day anymore because my symptoms have improved so much, but if I start to feel a flare-up, which I do sometimes, I will take them in the morning. Marshmallow root is another supplement that I mentioned in the beginning that I found research on, but I didn't decide to take until recently just to try it out and see if I could report back in this video, and I did try, and I'm not a fan. It gave me some GI upset, and I wouldn't really recommend that one just based on my personal experience, but everybody is different. And again, always talk to your doctor before taking any supplements because you want to be sure that they don't interact with any medications you're on, etc. And if you are on a PPI, take it separate from slippery elm because slippery elm can inhibit the absorption of your medications as well, so you want to be careful about that. But I would say those 4 main things have helped me so much. So cutting out caffeine or just limiting it or trying to have it with food is a great idea for people who are struggling with acid reflux because it can be a huge trigger. Small frequent meals, trying to drink your fluids again outside of your meals also, because when you have a huge amount of liquid in food, that can cause symptoms. Thirdly was taking slippery elm and licorice root, or just slippery elm, because I'm pretty sure this one works just as well on its own. You can also try those too if you are looking to try out a couple. And then the 4th thing being eating dinner early and not laying down right after you eat. And I also do want to touch upon stress management for acid reflux because I definitely noticed that my symptoms get worse when I'm stressed. So developing a meditation practice, a mindfulness practice, downloading Insight Timer, and trying to do a couple guided meditations a week, or when you start to feel your anxiety increase, is super important because when we're anxious, we have cortisol, which is the stress hormone, and our digestion is not as efficient, and that can lead to acid reflux. So really important to try to manage your anxiety and stress as best as you can. I have a couple guided meditations as well as yoga classes on my channel, so definitely check those out. If you have any other questions or tips and tricks for acid reflux, definitely comment them down below. I love reading your comments and I respond to each and every single one. Be sure to comment any other health and nutrition topics that you want me to review on my channel. I'm happy to make videos that are going to be the most helpful for you guys. And if you haven't already subscribed, be sure to do that and hit the bell so you get notified for future health and nutrition videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.